This is going to be one of the better ones. I'm glad I thought of this. Kind of a psychological thriller. Yeah. Well, we went to church. Always go to church every Sunday. We were little at first, and they'd put us in the Sunday school place, play with, listen to the teacher. One time they had us draw pictures of the disciples, I think, and my friend, one of my friends, he drew a real funny one. You know, hanging out, not really having a bad time, you know. Um, but yeah, they would teach us what we could learn at that level of education. Made paper planes, and so this lady was our teacher. She's actually that friend's mother, and we were on the subject of the scripture or the verse, whatever it is, that says it's better to give than receive. And I think I'm not going to be able to get this detail for detail, but she probably had mentioned that it's relevant to what's going on with there was a family. They had a son. I think they had two other children. Well, the problem was one of those children needed a kidney, so they're going to take the kidney out of the other kid. And my opinion is, well, yeah, go ahead and do that. You know, your family, if you think it'll work. But, you know, do you really think that little kid had a choice? That's not something that's very funny to laugh at, but you know, you can blame, maybe they were drinking too much Coca-Cola or something. Have something like that have to happen. Have the kidneys go at a young age, child. And I know this, that back in those days, the 60s, the kidney transplants, I don't think they often worked out. I don't know. I don't remember if they did or not. So anyway, well, you know, and then all through the next week you might think about the lesson and how it affects you or whatever, you know, just to be a God-fearing little kid, or kids if the other kids were paying attention. I wasn't really all that good at paying attention. But, you know, I've already told you about an arrowhead I found when I was about 3 or 4. Now I'm going to tell you about yet another one that was found in a creek we used to play in. And this one was, it was brown, for all I know, it could have been amber. It was that color, just a plain brown, like that sign right there. Plain brown, but you know, pretty the way it was cut. It was could have been something they call schist, or it could have just been flint. There are many different colors of flint. I know the other one was a pink. This was brown, and it was on it. That's where you find them, on the sandbars. But that's another problem, because there's all these rocks in the creek, and it had lost its tip. Little bit of a tip about maybe the size of your pinky thumbnail, about that much, maybe not even that much. But because it had lost its tip, it's just almost, I don't know, it's not worthless, because it's still an antique or an artifact, and it's genuine. But yeah, that's gonna cut its value more than half. Still though, kind of cool, man. And I showed it to my brother and my friend, and along came these two boys that were a year or two older than us. See, we might have been 6 or 7. They might have been 8 or 9, maybe older. I think one of them was older, 10, 11, 12, because he was real smart. I tell you what he said. Oh, wow, that is the coolest thing, Um, can I have it? Because we're having to go to, we're moving to New York City, and there's no places like this that you can find them. And you'll always be here. You'll find more. And, the other guys, kind of frowned at the idea, I'm sure. But it wasn't their decision, it was mine. Um, and I gave him the arrowhead, and what made up my mind to give him the arrowhead was that Bible lesson that you should give. And then, that Bible teacher lady was close friends with my mom. And when we got home, I guess my brother probably blurted, hey, he found an arrowhead and just gave it away to some guy. And then I tried to say, well, wait a minute. I felt sorry for him because he said that they had to move to New York City. And that he wouldn't be able to find him. There would be no creeks or places to play and find things, arrowheads, if you want to look there. But she got real mad and just said, well, that's just dumb. But, I said, but maybe I was just kind of not wanting to say anything. But maybe I might have said, well, Mrs. So-and-so said that it's better to that you should want to give, that it's better to give than receive. And the problem was that this guy was, like I say, he must have been kind of, look at this. This is the stupidest parking lot. And look, if you back out, somebody comes in, you're going to get whacked. That's why I always go, I am from now on going to a store that should be kind of dead. These people are getting a lot of customers because they sell cheaper, but you got to buy a big quantity most. But getting back to the story, that's all we can sit and argue. The damage is done. If we could have counterplayed him, the family, somebody, my big brother or my father, somebody could have said, well, look, I think this guy lied, made up a story. If they really did go to New York, well, that's just bye-bye arrowhead. But if he made that up, so you could try to find out where he lives, because he lived in the neighborhood, him and his friend, find the other one, and that if you can't find that certain guy, you could find his friend and ask him where the receiver of the recipient of the arrowhead lives, and go to his house. Say, when are you going to New York? Say, if you don't get to New York soon, we're going to come take that arrowhead back away from you. Don't you think, and just do that. But nobody thought of that. And I just wasn't thinking fast, think to see through that story. You think the other two would have spoke up and said, they weren't intimidating, they were friendly. They would have spoke up and said, hey, I don't know if I believe you. But yeah, that's so. The whole moral of this is it's not that it's okay to give. We should help each other and give and take when we need and give when others need. But I think it's a paradox. It's like my problem was that I think what you call this is being dumbed down. Just Like my mom said when they first broke the sad news, well, that's just dumb. Well, it was a dumb down. It sure was. I uh, pity, but it the joke's really on him because the arrowhead's always going to be missing its tip. So, like I say, I don't know. I might maybe should look it up, but I've heard of these arrowheads being really valuable. Some of them. I got more stories about arrowheads too later, but this might not. If we try to cram too much into this video story, it might not upload because I only have about 2 gigabytes. So thanks for your view, and you have a nice day. Happy holidays. Bye.